Hey everybody, in this video we're working on my CB750, finally doing the chain and sprockets on it, so stick around for that. But also in the video, just a quick note, if there's any clips that you find maybe grainy or the color's a bit off, that's just because I'm playing with some different camera settings. Always trying to improve, make better content for you guys. But if some of the clips just look a little bit wonky, you know why. So anyway, I'm always going to be trying to do better for you guys. But regardless, enjoy this video. CB750 back in the shop, and today I'm going to rectify some potential neglect that I have done on this bike because I just want to ride it. So today we're going to do the chain and sprockets on this thing. It has been long overdue. Now of course we've known the chain has needed to be replaced this entire time, but the final breaking point was me noticing that I had to do a chain adjustment or tighten the chain 2 times in 1 week from how much it was stretching. And right now my biggest fear is that this chain is going to snap, wad itself up in that front sprocket and put a hole in my case. I would be devastated if it did that. I would fix it, but I would be devastated because this thing, I love everything about it, and that would be a whole different ball of wax as far as like rebuilding an engine and making this thing nice, and I want to keep this exactly how it is. So today, chain and sprockets. Now, obviously I just said I had to adjust this thing 2 times in 1 week, and that thing was getting super loose. Now this is like, it's a little bit more loose than what you would want right now, but this thing was flapping around all over the place, and you can see here, it's been hitting my center stand so bad that it's wore a groove in it. So that's pretty not good. Pretty no bueno. Now, the center stand was maybe a little bit higher. After I did the 4-in-1, I went ahead and modified this bracket here to be a center stand spacer because the original 4-in-2 setup, that was kind of holding the center stand down. So this is a little bit better than it was, but still not perfect. Alright, first up, dragging ass this morning. Let me tell you. It's currently about 7:30 a.m. on a Sunday, and we're doing what we love. We're working on motorcycles. So let's go over exactly what I have here, what I have chosen for the bike. Now, I'm a little bit more budget focused on this, but I wanted something maybe middle of the road. So I've got these JT sprockets, got these from Dime City Cycles. I went with a 530 chain, of course. That is what is on their standard. So what I have done and deviated from stock is the gear ratio. Originally on this bike it has an 18-48 combination, and I went with a 17 on this one to maybe just give it a little bit more torque. Why not experiment with it? I can always go back to an 18 if I wish. So 17-48. The sprocket here, not exactly my favorite look. Good looking sprocket, but I would have preferred maybe an original looking one, but again, we're kind of budget minded here, and this is just kind of what I would get in a hurry. So I mentioned a 530 chain. Now quickly, if we look at the sprocket here, I don't know if you can see that, we have a width of just under 3/8 of an inch, so that's going to allow for a little bit of chain slack there. So 3/8 of an inch on the inside of the chain here is our gap, and then our pitch is going to be cork. No, just kidding. Our pitch, we can kind of measure from this, you'll get a quick idea here. But from the trough to the trough, we're looking for 5/8. But just reiterating, I went with a 530 chain. That is what is on their factory. That is what we're going to use. So, basic sprocket here. Now, if you guys remember, I recently bought all of those parts from a closed-down motorcycle shop. And let me tell you, I have a surplus of sprockets and chains, both front and rear, and I have to move it around all the time. And you know what I don't have? One's for my CB750. Drives me crazy. So, as far as the chain, this luckily did come from my parts board that I bought. And it's a little longer than what we need, but of course we're going to trim it down. So luckily this thing comes with the correct master link. And this is just a basic kind of no frills, just 530 roller chain. There's no O-rings or anything like that. It's just really simple, and it'll be a lot better than what we have. Goop. I think this wrench is still set up from the last time I used it. This is not necessary, but it's something I want to do anyway. Also, guys, did I say 2 master links? 1, 2, 3. I'll have to review the footage. Maybe I knew it had 3, but eesh. this supposed to do that? It's like a Black Keys song or something. Now, to show you guys the worst fears ever, see those two little marks right there? That's from the chain, maybe before me, the chain actually hitting the case. Now, the risky run, if the chain were to break, it would generally just get picked up and then wad itself up in between the sprocket and the case itself. And you know what the weak point is? That aluminum right there is much weaker than the chain. And if you got enough force on the counter shaft, forcing it in there, it's going to window the block or window the case. And needless to say, that would ruin your friggin' day. Now, if you were to window the block, you can't ride the bike. That would obviously dump all your oil out. It would cause like a catastrophic failure. Now, it can be repaired, but that necessitates a full engine removal and rebuild. So we want to avoid that. So, not good. You guys can see here and here some pretty good gouges from a previous chain break, or at least, you know, the chain coming off of the sprocket and working its way on the inside. Pretty ugly. So we're lucky that this thing doesn't have a broken case on it. So a little chewed up right here too, but I was wanting to clean this surface. I knew it was going to be nice and shiny when I was done, but yeah, you can't really get in there with the sprocket on it. Alright, so on the bench here we have the old and new sprockets, and honestly the original doesn't appear to be in bad shape. I can't really perceive any forward pitch of the teeth themselves, and lining it up with the new sprocket, there's no deviation from that, so I could potentially clean this one up and use it and have the original look of the bike, but because I have the new one, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on. I'll save this one for a rainy day. And who knows, I might need it in the future. But I also just slid this into the chain here. You can see there's really not any excessive play, meaning that this hasn't been worn down on the sides as much as I may have thought. So yeah, there's not any perceivable like metal on metal wear. But again, rather have than not need than need and not have. So let's go ahead and get the new sprocket on the wheel, get this thing back together. Alright, check this out. We have the old and new chains lined up right next to each other. I've taken the tension out of them and they are starting in the same spot, but go down the line. What do we have here? So that is the 102nd link, and that is also the 102nd link. So you can see just the natural stretch there. And that is just kind of the minimal amount of stretch that we're going to see, because what you don't see is the slack of the actual rollers. So the rollers themselves are super bagged out in this thing. But you'll have that on these big jobs. You can pick this thing up, like, it's got a lot of curve to it. Not quite as severe of a bend, a lot less slack. Yep, it was time. All right, time to go ahead and shorten our chain. Now, some of you guys are gonna yell at me, but I don't have a chain breaker because of how little I really use them. So I just usually use a cutoff wheel and protect the chain how I can from grinding dust and stuff. Normally what I do is just put it back in the box while I do this. Do grind that pin flush and then go ahead and tap it out. Now, of course, if this was an O-ring chain, you would run the risk of damaging the O-rings, like overheating them. There you go. Ready for installation. Now, this guy right here is actually your chain oiler, so this little plug is threaded in. You basically set the tension with the center screw here. Now, I go ahead and just screw it all the way in. That way it stops any potential drips onto the chain, because it's just more you got to clean up, and I don't really like it. Go ahead and put our retainer on here. We'll get that tightened down once we get the chain drug on here. And for a little peace of mind, I'm going to put just some little bit of blue Loctite on here. Okay, we have our shortened chain. Let's get this thing on here. And of course back here we have our master link, one of 3. Just kidding, guys. That on there. And then this, in case you didn't know, you have an opening on this side. You want the opening opposite of the direction of travel. So the chain moves this way. In the event of something hitting the master link, you want it to be pushed on, not pushed off. So put this on here. So you put your master link on. Go ahead and seat it. And that is on there nice. Now we adjust the chain. And right now, of course, there's no real weight on the suspension, so we're just going to get this thing kind of close. So we'll leave these loose, and of course our adjusting nuts. Okay, now that we have the lift out of the way, we can go ahead and just tighten the chain down and set the tension that we need. So right here, 3/4 of an inch, which is ideal. So I'm going to cinch this thing down. We're going to match side to side how far back we are on those little ridges. Tighten it down and go for a ride. We got a good ride planned for today. That's going to be another video. Alright, so the chain and sprockets are done, and yesterday got to go for a ride on this thing. And just to report back on that gearing change, I actually really like it. It's kind of subtle. There's a couple times where you'll find yourself maybe looking for 6th gear because your RPMs are going to be just a little bit increased on that cruising speed. But overall, I really like it, especially when it gets to a hill or something, and it's just like you don't have to downshift as much, and it just feels a little bit more lively. And that's a good time. So really highly recommend a 17-tooth front if you don't have one already. So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Again, I apologize for any potentially wonky looking clips as I play around with different frame rates and ISOs and all that stuff that I have no idea what any of it means. So bear with me as I learn and experiment with you guys. So I hope you guys like this video. Hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.